Yasin Betty Mali, Saso Figa Gada, Baby Unga Hambi.
Hello to you, good people, and welcome to another episode of Nothing But Football, a show where we talk about football most of the time, but majority of the time it's also us just arguing as friends.
And Chris giving you beauty tips.
Yes, and Chris giving us his unorthodox beauty tips.
I've got one for you today.
But yes, let me introduce my good friends here. I'll start from the far side over there. It's my boy, Uncle Curtis.
What's going on?
Introduce yourself. Let us know. How was your week, man?
My weekend was good, dog. I'm great. I found a new beauty trick after steaming my face as well. Jets, if you have a patchy beard, get yourself some mascara. It has two folds. It fills up the beard nicely. Look at this luscious beard. Thanks to Zerona and the mascara. And then another tip, if you're a cheating guy, when they find makeup in your car, it's your mascara.
Interesting life lesson there, Uncle Curtis. And to my boy here, I've got Lukusa next to me. How you doing?
Away. No beauty tips from me. It's all natural. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man.
It's Congolese niggas.
So, as usual, in this very exciting season, we've had an interesting week. Some ups and downs, some surprises. But nonetheless, let's just get straight into it. Let's look at our results from the last time we recorded. There was games on Wednesday, the 17th of February.
It was Champions League, man.
Huh?
It was Champions League week, so Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I think let's just start first with the Premier League, and then we'll do a review of Champions League. I'll give it its own little section.
All right.
Since we're not involved. Let's not act like we were watching it.
What did you do on Thursday?
So yes, if we start on Wednesday, it was a game. The first game I'll look at was a game between Everton and Manchester City. Manchester City played away. They played at Goodison Park, and they collected 3 points. 3-1 was the score. Gents, how did you find that game?
I'll start. I'll take it there. I think it's two sides of the coins for City, right? Because obviously you're half watching it because they're in form and that. You're also half watching it, kind of thinking, will anyone stop them? But I think again, City, good performance, good defending. Even look, they conceded a goal, obviously, but they're still defending quite well and still quite strong. Phil Foden again, decent performance.
Yeah,
it was quite strong. I think give them the title now.
Really? That's a strong statement from a person who's involved in one of the teams that are title chasing.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that, into more detail about how you feel about the title chase.
Yeah.
But yeah, Uncle Curtis, how did you feel about that game?
We need to start match fixing games against Manchester City. That's what we need to do. Screw Pep and his dominating football.
Text the ref.
I'm going to start texting refs over here. If there's any billionaires out there who want me to match fix to them, I'll do it on the low. Right? I'm tired of Pep. Great manager, but yeah, I'm tired of him just dominating everything. I don't know what's going on with the rest of the league. So yeah, it is what it is. But then, considering that Pep, as much as he is a great manager, when he's got a left back is failing, he can go and buy another one for 50 million and get a backup for 45 million. It's kind of unfair in football, but it's football. He's dealing with the cause that he's got.
I think, let me add my opinion to that. Looking at that game, it shows that this guy has a squad. He has a squad that he can interchange at any moment and replace someone who's essentially at this point of the season who's might be a little bit fatigued and also might not be focusing at this point of view. Because I look at it now, he slotted João Cancelo onto left back, and obviously brilliant player.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even think that he's right-footed. He played so well. Emerick Laporte came back into the side. Great defender last season. Actually, for the past couple of seasons. Yeah. So he came on for John Stones, who was the star boy at the moment. So you look at that and you think to yourself, the City squad. How are people going to stop them? Everton were unfortunate. I think Calvert-Lewin, the goal scorer, was out injured, but Richarlison came and he's filled in. Well, yeah, he kind of filled in by scoring 1 goal for Everton. Yeah. But yeah, it was a brilliant performance from City. You can't really fault Everton. You really can't fault Everton. Any final thoughts about City, guys?
Give them the title.
You just want to give them the title.
As long as they don't win the Champions League, Pep will be considered a failure over there. So I don't mind. Give them the title.
Yeah. We look at the other fixtures before the weekend ones. It was Burnley, Fulham, 1-1. We don't care. Leeds were not shocked necessarily, but Wolves took 3 points from them, 1-0 in that game. And then let's just get straight into the Saturday fixtures. The highlight of that game day was actually the Liverpool versus Everton game. Liverpool played at Anfield, had a long unbeaten run. Yeah.
It ended in spectacular
fashion. As you'd say. I was giving you your cue. That's why I was looking at you like that. Yes.
Chris called it again.
So Everton took that 2-0 with goals from, I think it was a Sigurdsson penalty and a Richarlison goal. Let me start with you, Uncle Curtis. How did you find that game?
I don't know what's going on with Liverpool at Anfield in the Premier League. After they beat Leipzig during the week in the Champions League, I generally thought they would have fixed something over there and they would have got things right. I saw there was a controversial penalty they were saying, because they were saying the player couldn't have done nothing. I think it was Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yes.
And I think we need to move away from that type of thinking away as well. Especially when it comes to players busy sliding all over the pitch. And then, because he slid, yes, he got the ball, but then afterwards, at the same time, he tripped Alexander-Arnold with his head.
Yeah.
And you say, no, but what could he do? He could have had control over his body.
Yes.
You know, like, I understand that sharp, he got the ball, but this thing of always saying, get the ball first, it's not the end or be all in football. I can get the ball, but have my body in such a fashion where I don't have control over what I'm doing. That's how players get bad injuries.
Yes.
That shouldn't happen. And on top of that, we have a bunch of people taking a screenshot of the wrong part of the foul.
Yes.
Because they're complaining about the penalty being awarded because he tripped over his head. But there was a second part to that foul where Trent lifted his leg and tripped over what you call this thing? Dominic Patrick Calvert-Lewin again. Yeah. So now, don't take one part of the foul and say, no, it's not a foul because of this thing. But then, less than 2 seconds later, Trent is out here lifting his leg with no ball in sight, trying to stop a man. So what do you expect? Because yes, he got the ball, but he wasn't in control of the ball. And Dominic Patrick Calvert-Lewin was still going to run through, right? And he could have got the ball. But he was stopped. So now what must happen? So people must stop complaining and saying, no, you got the ball first. Football is not always about getting the ball. Be in control of your body. That's the way I view things. Liverpool deserved to lose that game. That's all I'm going to say. And if all these Liverpool fans complain about all these injuries that they've been getting, boo-hoo-hoo. Go cry on, my nigga. I don't care. Boo-hoo.
It kills me how you always add Patrick into Calvert-Lewin's name. Every single time. But I understand he does have quite a mouthful of a name. Lucas, let me ask you what you thought of that game. But specifically from a point of view where we look at Liverpool and we kind of analyze this game, where this is I think a couple of home defeats now in a row.
Yeah.
4 home defeats in a row. And this is normally their bread. This is where they get their bread. I think... I can't remember this. Yes, it's been 15 years since they beat Everton. Well, they lost to Everton at home.
Yeah.
Like, this is I wouldn't say a crisis to Liverpool, but just take me through what you read from there.
Yeah, look, Everton has been their bread and butter. Like they normally sweep the floor with Everton, so it's good for Everton to get one over their rivals. From a Liverpool perspective, I think. Obviously, their problem is defense in that, but I think this game shows you it's a little bit more than the defense, right? Because we also, I actually don't know if we've spoken about this, but you also lose something by taking Henderson and
Fabinho
out of the central midfield. And plus this season with all the games back to back, I've heard other managers talking about where they've got an extra day so they could actually get some training in. You know what I mean? And Liverpool's game is all about pressing the opposition, all about, hey, guess what? Now you have to play within your own team. You don't just have the time just to teach your team how to run and close down opposition players. So I think it's a tough time for Liverpool. It's definitely a tough time for Liverpool. I mean, this run has seen them drop out of the top 4 and that. So it's not as, the run of form is a bit worse than we maybe thought. You know what I mean? I thought it would destabilize them for a while and they'll come back. But I'm surprised. Still attacking side. I still think Mane's output is the one which is not the one this season.
So you mean his goal conversion is the problem essentially?
No, not necessarily. Usually Mane is the runner of the 3. You know what I mean? He gets the ball from deep and runs, and he's the ball carrier.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of that from him this season.
Don't you think it's due to him being tired? Klopp's tactics have run its course.
Could be.
Could be. I think that's why they're also getting injuries.
Yeah.
Because it's 4 years of intense pressing, intense running up and down. It takes a toll on the body. It was an article I was reading over the weekend about somebody who actually called Liverpool not winning the Premier League title this season on those very same reasons that for 2-3 seasons they were playing high pressing intensity football, right?
Yeah.
And now, right, this season, just based on the science and the numbers, right, they will not, be able to keep it up anymore. And when you look at it, because we're even talking about, it was some German doctor, I forgot the article, I'm going to share it with it, all right? I'm going to share it with it, but it was like some German doctor, all right, with like caffeine, like they were comparing it to Jamie Vardy, where Jamie Vardy cannot do, because he takes a lot of caffeine, the benefits of caffeine, and then you have that up and down, up and down, up and down. But then what it does to your cardiovascular system is just so immense that you can't do it for 2, 3, 4 seasons without having any after effects. And maybe Liverpool do need to freshen it up. Maybe Liverpool need to change the front 4 because of the way they play. They're deteriorating their players. Liverpool have this many injuries because of the type of football they play. They can't put it down to, yes, we have injuries. Why are you getting those injuries? Van Dijk was an unfortunate injury, all right, with the Everton keeper Pickford, all right? The other injuries are from the style of play that they play. Did they get any other bad tackles? Have there been any broken foots? You can't say that. It's generally muscle injuries, which lets me know that Klopp's style of football, it's into the 4th season now. They can't keep up. Their bodies are saying, nah, buddy, I'm not doing this anymore.
No, I agree with you. But I also think we need to take into account that Liverpool right now are in I won't say an identity crisis, but they're very fortunate that they're still in Champions League. And they're still, I think before the last 16 started, they were essentially gunning for both.
Yeah.
They were gunning for Premier League and for, what's his name?
Champions League.
For Champions League. That's where the problem for me started. Even like considering the fact that they have so many injuries, this was always going to be a problem, period. That, you're going to need to essentially, ration your sides out. You put, half a decent side in this competition, half a decent side in this competition. I'm not saying that's what happened with Liverpool in this Everton game, but I feel as though, they're struggling. I'd actually say in the midfield mostly. They're struggling in the midfield. Thiago's not as effective as we thought. I think in that midfield 3, it was Thiago, Curtis Jones, and Wijnaldum. None of them known for defending. None of them known for, the guy who takes the pressure away from the other players, who essentially start the play off. Thiago, yes, but they're now pushing him as a creative role. So it's a tough period for them.
But I'd like to add 2 points to that as well. Last season, Liverpool's youth team players in the Carling Cup, they were saying they were also brilliant, all the media pundits and so forth. I have one question. Where are all those youth team players that they were speaking about last season?
Jones.
But where are the rest?
Fair enough.
Where are the rest? Because they said
Phillips, whatever Phillips.
But when they were talking, they were saying this youth team is brilliant.
Yeah.
Where are the rest? So none of them are playing, right? Which means your youth team wasn't up to scratch. You were just in a rich vein of form. And when I'm sure you could put in me into a squad when they're in rich vein of form, and I'll put in a goal or two just because the team is confident all around, right? When you feared like that. Another thing is when you look at Liverpool in the Premier League and the Champions League, maybe they're doing better in the Champions League because the football they have to play in the Champions League does not have to be as intense as in the Premier League, because the quality of the players is there. But the way they play in the Premier League, where the Premier League is up and down, they can't keep up with it. And maybe they do need to adjust their football, that the way they play in the Champions League almost comes into the Premier League as well, where you don't have to press all the time, where you don't have to do this. Because in the Champions League, it's a bit slower. You're playing against a team like RB Leipzig. I don't think Leipzig presses as hard as Liverpool when they play in the Premier League. You're going to come against a Madrid. They won't press as hard. It's more tactical. You're going to come against a Bayern Munich. Cool. Bayern Munich will play you off the park because I don't know what drugs they pumping into their players over there. But then, in Champions League, competition varies. Luck of the draw. You'll see how it goes. But in the Premier League, that high intensity pressing with those hard tackles of Premier League players could be causing those injuries. So you have to change your style of football to adopt to the Premier League now, because your players are burning out. Those are the two things.
But wouldn't one argue that it's a bit too late to change your tactics essentially halfway through the season? I understand that changing your tactics would essentially save your players, but it could also cost you.
It saves your players' futures as well.
Yeah.
And it's not about this season. You can write the season off in the Premier League. Concentrate about next season, because what's going to happen next season when you get all your players back? You think the burnout will stop just because you got Van Dijk back? They still lost 7-2 to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think it's a burnout.
I think it's a burnout.
I think it's purely injuries. This happened to City last season. City also struggled. You lose your main players.
The difference with City is that City has a squad.
Yeah.
Liverpool doesn't.
But even when City struggled, it wasn't this bad. They didn't lose 4 games in a row. They were drawing games. Why do they have so many injuries? The style of football they play. As I said, Van Dijk is the one bad injury. Every other player is a muscle injury. Why is Gomez out? Muscle injury. Why was Trent out? Muscle injury. Why was Robertson out at this stage? Muscle injury. Muscle injuries are you overworking your body.
Yeah, no. Interesting future we have in terms of Liverpool to see what's going to happen. But let's move on to the other fixture on Saturday that caught the eye. It was Southampton versus Chelsea at St. Mary's. Southampton drew with Chelsea there, 1-1. Goal from Minamino, another Liverpool player, which I feel got an unfair opportunity at Liverpool, and Mason Mount penalty. If I can ask you, Mr. Lucas, or Lukusa, what?
Lukusa.
We said we'll get me a nickname.
Yes, I keep trying to think of it on my feet as we talk, but there's nothing that comes to me. But yeah, if you look at that game, I was actually going to ask you, who do you think the big winners were? But I think we know the big winners were Southampton. What did you think of that game?
Of that game, tight game. Like the big winners are Southampton, obviously, because they get points on the board again. You know what I mean? They've been dropping points again lately. For Chelsea, not the best performance, but still a stable performance. So I think the coach would still be pleased. That's the game where he brought Kellen Hudson-Odoi in at half time and then still took him off later, and he was very frank about it in the press conference. He said he took Hudson-Odoi out because he wasn't giving that intensity defensively. He wasn't closing down. He wasn't bringing it. And remember, this is a coach that's probably his 6th game or something. He's still putting his identity down in the team. He's still following sort of Antonio Conte's blueprint, because there's a lot of Antonio Conte players there from that title winning team. But still stable. I don't know. I think they've got some tough fixtures coming up now. So this game, decent, but I will really form an opinion after their next run of games. Because I think they have City and United coming up.
The next round of fixtures are going to be quite tough. Uncle Curtis, I pose the same question to you. What do you think of that game?
Okay, performance. You can't win every game. 1-1. You didn't drop all 3 points. But then when it comes to Hudson-Odoi coming on and being subbed off, that's how you lose dressing rooms.
Yep.
Tuchel better watch himself. That's how you lose dressing rooms, when you bring on players at halftime, taking them off at the 76th minute. People will start looking at you like, are you mad? Like, you thought I could affect the game. I didn't affect the game the way you wanted it to. Because I also still come from the style of football where it's like, not everybody has to be a high intensity pressing player.
Yes.
Some players are not designed for. Imagine if Berbatov was out there busy pressing opposition defenders.
Yeah.
He loses his cool. He loses that, slickness about him. So get players like Kante in the team who can run up and down the pitch and will do it gladly. But do not ask a player who's not accustomed to it to do that to it. Otherwise, we'd have 22 James Milners on the pitch and would never watch football ever again from England. Right? Because everybody pressing is boring, if we're being quite honest. It's when you look at 2 teams like that do high pressing, nothing exciting happens. The big teams, all because they're trying to all play the same way, it all ends up being no draws. There's no brave manager out there to say, no, my players are better than yours. You can do your high pressing. We'll get past them. I'm waiting for that next wave of football to come back again, because it reminds me of like Cazorla. Remember when players try to press Cazorla, right? That man, you couldn't get the ball off him. And then as soon as he broke that attack, you were in trouble, right? Yeah. I don't like where everybody has to press. I do agree that you have to put in a shift. You mustn't be like Messi at Barcelona where you just walk up and down the pitch. Cool. But you don't always have to be, rush the ball. I have to stop this guy. Sometimes, conserve your energy because you are better going forward. You're not that great defensively. You can't be an all-rounder.
I understand you.
Look, I disagree to that point, because at the end of the day, before the 90 minutes, you're setting up your team saying, how are we going to win this game? Defensively, you're saying, cool, that's the opposition's strengths. That's where we need to close them down in that. Kellen Hudson-Odoi playing wing back in a system where you're playing wing backs are vital. If you're not giving me what you need to give me in that position, I'm more than happy with that player being brought off, because that's how you win.
I have a point.
You know what I mean? So if you're waiting for somebody to show he's sharp, then be prepared to lose points.
I have a counter argument. I have a counter argument to that point, because I think we're neglecting the fact that there's a player on there in Marcus Alonso who traditionally is not a very good defender. And guess where Callum Hudson-Odoi slotted in? He slotted in on the left side.
Wing back though, yeah.
No, not on wing back. Essentially, Alonso's the wing back, because Chelsea are playing with 3 at the back. So now, Hudson-Odoi is essentially going to be playing that role where he swaps with Alonso when Alonso attacks. But you must also understand that Alonso does not defend very well. So now you're putting in a Hudson-Odoi with a player who doesn't traditionally defend well. I understand to a point of view where you're saying that maybe he was overwhelmed, but I think the blame was put solely on one player. And then the other was they essentially left him because he's been scoring. So for me, Tuchel substituting substituting Odoi was a little bit unfair. I understand what he's trying to do. he could have essentially, because I think in that game he brought on Jorginho and Ziyech after that.
Yeah.
After that scenario.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that he could have possibly brought on a defensive player before that. Yeah. And then bring on an attacking, maybe a Hudson-Odoi in the last 10 minutes.
Okay. I even hear you on that, but like what Lucas was saying, he was playing wing back. I still blame the manager for that. Why are you playing Hudson-Odoi at wing back?
Because he can play it.
But he's not very good.
I wouldn't blame the manager for playing a player
no, but
position.
You can't play it.
How did Aspilicueta end up being a centre? Because you tried him in a position, then he succeeded.
When has Hudson-Odoi played wing back?
Eh?
When is Hudson-Odoi?
Under Tuchel. And even in this game, he replaced Tammy Abraham. He didn't even come on in fullback and wing back in this game. He came in the front three.
Yeah.
Look, he plays a lot of positions. He's a young player. But sorry, don't bend to a young player. He also needs to learn how systems work.
But I understand.
I get what you're saying, but but it's not his strength.
Just be reliant on what you do on the ball. You also have to close down your opposition, and that he's quality, and players are quality on the ball too. But you also have to stop your opposition. You're trying to win the game, not give.
You're putting too much emphasis on stopping the opposition. You can stop the opposition by just being the better team. You can stop the opposition by just being the better team.
I disagree.
Because I understand where you're coming from by saying that you need maximum input from everyone. But it seems as though, I also understand what Uncle Curtis is saying. It seems as though now you're essentially like scapegoating players in games. Where he's kind of, to take off a player after 15 minutes as a substitute is quite embarrassing.
Yeah, that is.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, he could have maybe, I don't know, call him to the side, send a message through to him as in like, dude, you need to perform. But also, I don't know, maybe he did, and then Hudson didn't do anything.
Jose Mourinho did that to Joe Cole at Chelsea. Broke him, yes, but he came back stronger.
No, I get it. But yeah, let's hope for their sake. And for
where's Mourinho now with his team, though? Where's Mourinho now with his tactics?
I'm sure we're getting
there.
Where's he with his tactics?
He's so comfortable with his 2 Champions League wins and wins in every country.
You're going to tell me about 1988 over here, though?
Yes. Then
what has he done at Tottenham?
Ancelotti. Yeah. Ancelotti's also now coasting after his...
Yeah, but Ancelotti's at Everton, not saying I'm going to... No, that's the thing, the key word. We'll get to that when we get to Mourinho. Because Mourinho got the Spurs squad and said, this is a brilliant squad. Now he's saying they're all useless.
Yes.
Scapegoating players.
Yeah.
Speaking of useless players and scapegoating players, we move on to the Sunday fixtures, and West Ham went against Spurs at the London Stadium, and Spurs lost that game to West Ham 2-1. I think it was a goal from
Jay
Lings over there, and an early goal from Mikel Antonio. The Spurs goal was from Lucas Moura. Bit of ups and downs in that games, but I'll start with the man who has a lot to say about Tottenham, Uncle Curtis. Please tell me your thoughts about that.
Mourinho's finished, guys. You can't come to a club. He's finished.
Really?
He said he changed when he joined Tottenham. I don't see anything that's changed. He still plays hella defensive football. All right. He's not adapting to the way football is going, the way I'm going. You have Kane, you have Son, top of the chart scorer and everything. When you join Tottenham, you say this is a brilliant squad. You can see them taking to the next level. He's taking them back. They're losing games they shouldn't be losing. Players are complaining that they're defending too much. I don't like Dele Alli, but he was a player who was scoring under Pochettino. What happened to Dele Alli? What happened to every other player in the squad that was doing well under Pochettino? I don't like Pochettino either, but they were doing well. Right? Now it comes back to my point of you go to a squad, you try and take players and make them do things they're not accustomed to. All right? I don't care what you do in this world. No manager could have coached Ronaldinho how to defend. It's not in his blood.
Exactly.
Now you want to say, no, defend, instead of being on the ball and just dribbling people, because that's what he does. Right? Now he has to go defend because he's worried about who would have been on the wing. He's worried about Ashley Cole attacking him. No, he should be making Ashley Cole worry about staying at the back, if you get what I'm saying, in that time or era. Yeah. Which is why I say, you look at the squad you have, you look at the players you have, and you make the best with what the players you have. Not everybody is going to be a high intensity press type of player, because when everybody follows those tactics, everybody does the same thing, we get the most boring football because it's safe.
Yeah.
It's very safe.
It is.
Sometimes you just need a team to manage in a different way. And yeah, that's what I can say. I'll talk about it in another game that we're going to discuss later on, but that's what I saw in that other game. But Mourinho, what he's done to Spurs, he's regressed them. They were top of the league in December. They were happy. It's December. Just like Man United were top of the league in Jan. It's Jan. It means nothing. All right. Liverpool, City are running away with it now, but you got to look at what you have. Like, not everybody's pressing. Not everybody can play multiple positions. Sometimes just, hey, my players are better than yours. Let's see if you can stop me. And that's where I look at it from.
Interesting viewpoint.
So if I can just say, because you've made an example in the positive, right? Ronaldinho. No one can fight that. But then there's also examples in the negative. Remember when Roberto Martinez coached Wigan? They won the FA Cup, got relegated, and they played fantastic football. Would you be happy with that?
No, but
there's
I'm saying
balance.
no, but there's a balance. But I'm saying, look at the players that you have.
It can't just be I'm better than my players. Then when you lose the game, what do you say?
No, but then I lost the game because the other team was better on the day.
And then when you've lost 7 out of 10, or
but Lucas,
what do you do?
Lucas, look what I'm saying.
You are a manager.
But we see where we're going here.
Something.
You see where you're going. You're diverting.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Sure.
You just took an offer.
You took Wigan. I'm saying I'm the better player.
No. I'm gonna stop you as well.
Yeah.
Because now we just took Malebongwe off ramp. Get back on the N1. We're talking about Tottenham.
Sure.
Talk about Tottenham. Lucas, let's talk about Tottenham. What happened?
Cool. I think they came up against a West Ham team in very good form. So I first want to say West Ham did very well. My boy Jay Lings, Ballon d'Or. But from a Spurs side, I think they are. I think to like what Chris says, it's sort of kind of now their own making of the problems now, which is weird because for me, he's picking more attacking teams in a sense, in that it was usually Højbjerg, Sissoko, defensive midfielders. Now it's Højbjerg by himself. Even in the City game when they lost to City, Højbjerg by himself in the center. But it's that kind of thing. You're not used to now attacking football. Your players don't know what to do. And Harry Kane has to be there to hold the ball, turn, and then give a pass because no one else believes they can carry the ball or is allowed to carry the ball. So that's definitely there. But just also now Pochettino and this Spurs, one was more entertaining. This one is boring, but at the same, there's still no trophies. You know what I mean? So it's a catch-22. It's like, what do you want? How do you get there? You know what I mean?
But they were making top 4 back then.
Hey?
They were making top 4 back then.
They might win the League Cup. They're in the final.
Against City.
Yes, they're in the final.
There's a chance.
Nonetheless, let me have my 2 cents in this. I think I've expressed this to you guys before, that I feel as though West Ham is a team that is doing exceptionally well this season.
Right.
They actually...
What a signing, Koufal.
Yes. Koufal, like you look at that sign, Koufal, Soucek, like they have brilliant players in the squad. They have Ben Rami.
Yeah.
Ben Rami, who's coming into this side. Like you look at this team and you think to yourself, okay, this is a great, they have a great squad. Yeah, Jay Lings has come in. It's like he's been there the whole season. So to me, if you look at a team like Tottenham, who's been on a band runner form, who've just gotten Harry Kane back, pieces are starting to fit in when they had great form. You think to yourself, going against West Ham, who are a top 4 team, that this is.
So you don't think they're overperforming?
Eh?
You don't think they're overperforming this season?
West Ham.
I think they've done it solidly for a while now that we can't sit back and ignore the form. I understand that there's other teams doing badly. It's not that they are doing well, like extremely well. It's that teams around them are doing badly, but they're constantly collecting the W's if you watch them carefully. Because I'm also looking, Serge Reguilon just came back into the side. Jafet Tanganga, who hasn't actually started a game this season, started. So I don't know
David Sanchez has not been a first pick.
Yes.
It's usually been Dyer and Alderweireld.
Exactly. You look at those things.
3 changes in the back four.
Dele Ali, who's been blackballed by Mourinho finally had to swallow his pride and put him back in the side. He featured on the bench. But the surprise for me was actually Gareth Bale, because he was the one who provided the assist for the first goal. And he was actually, that's where the attacking threat came from.
Yeah.
I watched that game.
Yeah, he actually did.
It seems as though, he's strapped up the bootlaces and decided, hey, I need to play. I need to earn my way into the side. But yeah, if you look at it, on paper, this shouldn't be a surprise. But we thought North London, a London derby, we thought that Tottenham would take this. But anyways, good result for West Ham. Let's not take
I think they're going to start losing soon.
It depends. I think for them it's perfect. They've got no other commitments.
No, I hear you. I'm saying this because the boys are getting too cocky and starting to talk to the media, saying that top 4 might be a possibility. When Declan Rice says that we're good enough to make the Champions League, that's when you start losing, because God is going to be like, you spoke too soon.
So you just have something against Declan Rice.
I don't have something against Declan Rice. I have something against average players who talk too much too soon.
But he is right though. They are in contention.
Keep quiet, man. You keep quiet up until you secure that top 4 team.
But how are you supposed to keep quiet if the guys ask you questions? The
No
media
comment.
guys. Hey?
No comment.
Nah,
We're just taking it game by game.
He's a new captain. He's a new young captain.
We're taking it game by game.
He's happy, bro.
He's
Let
happy.
them be
Yes,
happy.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those.
Let them
bro.
have joy.
Well, we can't be letting threes out here be happy that they're dating the 8 because the 8 was triple dizzy for 5 minutes. We can't let that happen. We can't. I refuse to let that happen, man. And I'm talking to all these guys, man. Like, hey, you had your 5 minutes of fame. Be happy you're in that position. Keep humble until you get out that position.
I understand you. But in the same breath, he's young. He's captaining a side that shouldn't have been in the top 4. Let him have his moment.
Because you know what he said? His comments were, I think this club deserves Champions League football. West Ham don't deserve Champions League football.
Oh, okay. Deserve is different.
West Ham, what has West Ham done in the Premier League history to deserve Champions League football? Because they have a couple of fans that sing in the stadium.
They have a movie about them, bro. Respect them.
The Green Street Hooligans.
Yes, Bubbles.
They've given you many Premier League greats.
Like who? You're going to tell me about...
Lampard, Cole, Rio Ferdinand, Michael Carrick,
Okay,
Jermaine
cool.
Defoe.
Where did they all make their names?
At other clubs, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They've given you.
Don't tell me. You're going to tell me Madrid gave...
What do they call them? The Academy of Football.
You're going to tell me that Madrid gave 8 to Barcelona, gave Barcelona 8 to... And he's a La Liga great. No, he was great at Barcelona, not at Madrid.
Yeah, he wasn't. But can they not claim producing him?
No, they can't.
When you come through the youth system, you can't say you learned football there.
Nah.
Oh, fair enough.
No, you can say you learned football there, but if you didn't play more than 10, 15 games for the first team, then get out of here.
Those guys played a lot of games.
I give Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, etc. to Mourinho, and I don't like Mourinho. Right? I give them credit.
Yeah, that's
for
where
the-
they hit their peak.
the
Yeah.
way they, for the way they played, the way they played. Right? But who's a West Ham great to me? What's that Italian guy?
Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio.
Right? He's not top 10.
Carlton Cole.
He's not top 10. Right? They've given us many great average Premier League players. Like Sam Allardyce gets a job year in, year out, even though he's just an average manager. Right? So you just got to look at these things sometimes. Like, no, man.
Fair enough.
West Ham is a good top 10
Chris
team.
basically says if you're not top 6, keep quiet.
That's an interesting segue to lead into. If you're not top 6, keep quiet. Arsenal played against Man City. Arsenal played against Man City on Sunday. This game took place at the Emirates, and then Arsenal went down 1-0 to Manchester City. I'll actually start.
I applaud you, Potion, for the professionalism in your voice.
Yes. So I'll actually start with you, since it sounds like you have a lot to say about that game. Please let me know your thoughts about that game.
I will say for Arsenal, there's no shame in this result. This is the best team in the league, and literally it's only 1-0. I thought about the game. Arsenal's attack was almost was very little seen. I almost said non-existent, but very, very little seen. I think City dominated that centre of midfield. If Arsenal even tried to play the ball there, they lost it. Where Arsenal got joy was only on the only wide, but that left the centre to City. And when there's De Bruyne, Gundogan, all of these guys, I think it was a very good performance by City. Arsenal, like I say, there's no shame in the loss because it's not one of those where you feel like it should have been more either. City had some chances or whatever, but a 1-0 feels fair. You know what I mean? Why Thomas Partey only comes on to play United, I don't know, because I thought City was very dominant physically in this game, and I think that's somewhere where Arsenal lacked. But yeah.
Okay. Uncle Curtis, your thoughts on the game?
One mistake and a loss. It's the best way I can sum it up.
Second minute, no?
Yeah, it's one mistake and a loss. Second minute. It's the same thing that happened to us with Aston Villa. It's Man City. Well, they got Diaz, they got Laporte, they got Stones, they got Cancelo. They got defenders for days. They're not going to concede. Right? So, first 15 minutes, I give it all to City. Arsenal did start coming back. They did looking more defensively solid. Right? If it wasn't for that one mistake, could have ended up 0-0. Who would have been the first team to try and go more attacking wise? Right? Because when you have to try and go and attack City, when you're losing, they will tear you apart.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's where I think, but then that's where my point also comes across from, where two types of teams play the same type of football with the whole pressing and what. And then it becomes boring because then what happens there? I think that's a case of that. Because defensively, after the first goal, everything was almost solid. City will create chances because it's City. All right. But then there's no excitement on the other side as well. It's just like, okay. I watched the whole game and I just sat there and I was like, okay, fine. But I don't remember a chance that Arsenal created that was worthy of a goal. I did like the way Saka and Cherry played on the left. All right. But then I genuinely think some of the other players were missing because it's not to their strength. And I get why you have to do that.
Was Arsenal pressing? Oh, is Arsenal a pressing team? So
they press to a certain extent, when in phases, I would say, not all the way in the opposition half, sort of being phases when City attack.
A mid
press.
Or basketball, you call it mid-court press.
Yeah, so when they come to midfield, that's when they start pressing as a whole.
That's normal.
Pressing in the hope that the other team makes a mistake and then...
You see? Yeah. And that's what everybody's doing in football now. You're pressing, hoping the team makes a mistake. Right? I just wish teams, at any team, could find a player like Cazorla again, where you press him, he's going to beat you. You're not going to get the ball off him. And then it makes the other team change its tactics to say, okay, fine, we can't press. All right. So then we have to see how we can handle that player when he has the ball. And then you say, okay, fine. Now that they're not pressing us as much anymore, let's have a creative player on the other side who doesn't have to do as much pressing and stuff like that, and who can unlock defenses. And then it changes the outlook of the game. But when everybody is playing the exact same tactics, you're going to get the exact same type of game, especially against the top 4 teams. Right? They're going to be able to recruit quality players more or less to the same extent. It's just that one of the other teams might be able to get 2 or 3, where the other top 4 team might be able to get 1 player of that quality in that position. Because City can get 2 starting full-back internationals for a national team. Man United, Arsenal might be able to get 1. All right. So City have better rotation in the other games. Right. But when you are generally playing top quality opposition, more or less you're on the same quality in general, because there's not only 11 good players in the world. There's way more than that. It's just that, again, who do you trust better? Who do you trust better? That's what I say.
All right. For me, looking at that game, objectively, a 1-0 result is a good result for Arsenal. You're going up against the champions. You managed to keep it down. That's a good result. But as an Arsenal supporter, I think to myself, we kind of showed our hand in the beginning, that we knew that, we're just going to, minimize the damage. Because if you look at the middle, it's Mohamed Al-Neni and Granit Xhaka. no one there really is going to start up, the creativity. It's just essentially Odegaard who's expected to pull the creativity. You put Pablo Mari in, who's a good defender, but is not going to take chances. You could have put in anyone else. You could have put in a Gabriel. You could have put in a David Luiz, who's essentially a more, forward-thinking attacker. Not attacker, defender. Forward-thinking defender.
Yeah, for the quick win the ball, hit the ball over the top, because you're going to have to play long ball against it. You can't play them at their own game.
And then for the past couple of games where we've played well, we decided to play Nicolas Pepe on the left and then play Bukayo Saka on the right. That's worked out. Yes, we didn't do that. It's been working out for us for the last couple of games. We decided to switch now, all of a sudden. It seems as though this is a safe option because you just put Bukayo Saka in there and he just throws in the crosses. Essentially, between him and Kieran Tierney, they're just going to throw in the crosses and also defend well. I don't know anything else. Martin Odegaard had a decent game. Al-Neni was nowhere. Like, he's nowhere as usual. So that's my thoughts from that game.
Because even there, when I look at that game, besides the one mistake, I can't pinpoint any player who played absolutely terribly and any player who played absolutely brilliantly, besides maybe Saka.
And also, another thing is that I feel like Pep showed us a little bit of respect in that game. Because there were moments where you looked and you thought to yourself, City can keep going. They can keep going and they can give us a high score. But they just didn't. They decided to play the more cautious game. I don't know. Maybe it's because he was fearing an Arteta counter-attack or something. But it felt like he was okay with a 1-0.
Yeah, he knows how to win a league.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
He knows how to win a league. Don't get a 1-1 chasing a 2-0.
Yes.
But I even hear you over there, Lucas. But with that Pepe comment, I don't think he had a terrible game because he hardly got the ball. How can you have a terrible game if you don't get the ball? Because everything was on the left.
So, I think Zinchenko ran, because you know what Pep does, his fullbacks going to the center. Zinchenko was playing a lot of ball from the left and from the center unopposed. He's Pepe's man to mark. Okay, cool. Also on the when Pepe did get the ball, I thought he made bad decisions.
Okay, but even when you look at that, the goal didn't come from Zinchenko's side. The opportunities didn't come from Zinchenko's side. So you can't say he had a bad game if he's doing long balls to play towards the left to create space.
Remember, like I say, he's coming into the center of midfield, so he was not dictating, but he was playing a lot of the pass. Because remember, City played Fernandinho in central midfield. I thought he was man of the match, but Fernandinho has no legs. It was Cancelo and Zinchenko that are running around for him in the central midfield when they come to him. I thought Zinchenko had too much space.
But then again, it comes back down to us saying then he shouldn't have played Pepe in that game because Pepe is not that strong defensively.
Yeah, I agree.
So I can't say he had a bad game because
he
played him and he didn't do well, so he had a bad game.
He had an okay game.
I think saying didn't play well is a bit harsh. No. And I think a guy who's been playing well on the left, the system was working, but then you decide to change the game because you're in your own mental chess game with Pep. Yeah. And Pep essentially just...
But also, Pepe plays predominantly on the right.
No, he does.
Had a good run of... They didn't put him at left back, a position he doesn't know. So why are we shooting him Bale as if it's his first time playing right wing?
No.
That's his position.
That is his position, but with one of the best defensive sides...
True.
You don't just decide to do flippy changes.
And you expect to have 30% possession against City. So I give him that. Maybe I'm a bit too harsh.
And that's why even I say... It was okay because what did the position end up in the game?
We had 45%, City had 55%. If you look at that, you think this was quite an even game. Obviously, shots dictate another story. Yeah. City had 15 shots in total, but 3 on target. We had 7 shots in total, 1 on target. Yeah. That kind of paints a different picture, but still, I feel like City had mercy on us, but also the stance we took from our lineup kind of tells a story as in like, okay. We just need to minimize the pain here. That's what I felt.
Yeah, 16 wins in a row is the team you're coming up against.
No. But I feel like as Arsenal being 10th, you need to take the risk.
Fair enough.
We know that Arsenal in the past would have taken this risk. They would have rather gone and tried to win the game and essentially end up losing maybe a 5-3 or something, where you can feel like, okay, sharp, we tried, but the team was just that much better than us.
Sure.
Yes. So that's how I feel like, it's everyone's saying be grateful, but yeah, I don't feel like
I grew up watching better football. That's all I can say. I'll never accept boring football.
But yes, let's move on to a game that Lucas is proud of. Manchester United played against Newcastle United at Old Trafford. And in that game, Manchester United took it 3-1.
Did they get a dodgy penalty?
Eh?
Did they get a dodgy penalty?
What do you think?
Of course.
But yes.
Penalty, it wasn't dodgy.
Okay. This is what all Man United fans say.
Marcus Rashford scored first. Daniel James, well done to him, scored. And Bruno Fernandes, no guesses how he scored. I don't even have to say it. You guys know how he scored. And then from a Newcastle point of view, Alan Saint-Maximin scored that goal. Lucas, tell me your thoughts on this game. What did you think?
Wasn't the greatest of games.
Mm-hmm.
From a United perspective, I think sort of to like the how we view it differently. You see where Uncle Curtis is saying, take a team, trust that your team is better than the other, and let them go play. I think that's what Oli does a lot. Except sometimes I want a bit more tactics in the thing. But anyway, I think from a perspective, the Marcus Rashford's goal is pretty dope. He beats the same player twice. I don't know if, did you see the goal? Remember like your Tyranny's goal, where he beats the guy left back, then beats him at the box again, then scores. So same sort of thing. Good goal. Then Newcastle equalize. Daniel James gets a goal. The penalty there, a correct penalty, like I say, but at 3-1 that kills the game. So the last 15-20 minutes is kind of a dead rubber.
Yeah.
I mean, we even got to bring on our 17-year-old Shola Shoratire on there. That kind of thing. So in the end, a good result and what feels like a good game, but again, it was alright. I'll take the points. Anthony Martial again played up front. You could literally see Solskjaer having a go at him during the game, saying, movement, give us movement. You know what I mean? Then replaced him for Greenwood, who did give movement. Didn't really get the ball or chances, but it just looked better with somebody who's looking for the spaces, because that helps your team move forward. So a good result, not a spectacular game, but a good result.
Great view of it. Uncle Curtis, please let me know of your thoughts of that game.
I just want to know why all Man United fans think they never get dodgy penalties. I've never heard a Man United fan ever admit to ever getting a dodgy penalty. Ever. Not one. Each time you say, there wasn't a dodgy penalty. No, the refs were right. I can't think of one instance where they'll admit, hey, man.
But you didn't see the game, you didn't see the penalty incident, but the problem is
I saw the penalty incident. It was dodgy. I didn't see Rashford's goal. That's what I said.
The penalty incident
was dodgy.
How?
It was dodgy, Lucas.
How? What was dodgy about it?
Lucas, it was dodgy. But either way, as I was saying, Lucas, Man United continue winning. It's Newcastle, bottom half of the table team. They only got Saint-Maximin back recently, so he's back in the goals now. So over time, he will get more goals. Right? I think they'll survive the Premier League. And Newcastle fans, you're not that great of a team. Give Steve Bruce a break. Don't tell me about your Alan Shearer days. He didn't give you a Premier League title either. So we're looking at 30, 40 years without a Premier League title. I don't know where you get all this confidence from. I'm an Arsenal fan. It's been 18 years and I'm piping down because I don't know where the Premier League is coming from. So give a break.
Genuinely is Uncle Curtis piping down. I won't lie to you guys.
You know? Right. So it's one of those things of, Man United, solid performance. It's another win. That's all that matters. Bruno Fernandes goes missing again, gets a goal. It's what he does from time to time. But you can't blame players for that because not every player is going to be switched on for 38 games in the season. That is why it's a team sport. everybody should get involved.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see how it goes. Top 4, it looks like it'll be a funny top 4 this year. If Man United make it, if Leicester make it, if West Ham make it, it'll be a very odd top 4. But we'll take it from there. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
will have a lot of implications for Champions League viewership next season. But nonetheless,
I think there are generally 4, and then the Champions League will be like, nah, you need to start match fixing there in England because we need the big teams back.
Yeah, no, of course. Like that's how it happened that time when Europa started getting all the big names, and then Champions League essentially just dwindled down. So yeah, but let me give my opinion on the Man United game. I feel as though this is a solid Man United performance. These are the games where there would normally be loose focus, because I remember Newcastle have taken these types of games away from Manchester United a lot. So credit to them for stepping up and taking this game. Credit to Daniel James who hopped into the side and scored a goal. This is actually the right time for him to start, putting his name on the team sheet. I wouldn't say put it on the team sheet.
For squad rotation.
But for squad rotation. This is the perfect time for you to show up and essentially put in a performance that will make your season sound a little bit better. Martial up front, I'm not surprised. I think Ole is kind of going for Cavani in the front as your front player. And yeah, I think you guys need to put Martial back on the wing. It doesn't work with him in the front. He just has no striker's instinct. It's a shame. He's a great player, but he has no striker's instinct. All you're doing when you put him in the front is you're just ruining his confidence. And yeah.
I forgot which great manager said it, but they said they saw him as a winger, not as a striker.
It was Arsene Wenger. It was actually a topic of discussion this week where Arsene Wenger had actually said it when he was given the number 9 jersey. He was saying that he doesn't see him as a number 9. He sees him more as a winger. That he'd be more effective because he says there's some things that he doesn't have.
Yeah.
From a striker's point of view.
4-3-3 if your forwards are high and wide. You see like 4-3-3 Liverpool. Like Salah's a striker in that system. Martial needs that kind of position. Not centre forward back to goal. Not even left winger either, because then you have to. That man doesn't have intensity.
Yeah.
Positions that need intensity, he doesn't have.
No man, but
fantastic player.
Yeah. Also, I know this is a side point. I've noticed that there's a list that's been circulating around of the top 5 creators in the Premier League this season. I'm not sure who number 1 is, but that doesn't have anything to do with my point. But I know Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw have made it onto the list for top 5 creators.
I'll give Luke Shaw credit over there. But I saw somebody said that corners also count as creating a chance when you take a corner.
Oh.
So I'll take Bruno Fernandes just a bit down.
Yeah.
But he's still a great creator for Man United. But when you take majority of your team's corners, even if it's not a proper chance,
exactly,
we got to look at the quality of
and
chances.
your free kicks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But nonetheless, he's doing well. I can't take that away from him. He has literally changed the way Man United played, and they are playing better with him than without him.
Yeah. Well, besides Monday's fixture of Brighton and Crystal Palace, I think we've wrapped up the Premier League fixtures. So I think let's take a little break, refill our beverages, whatever they are, and we'll come back and we'll discuss Champions League and Europa.
We hasn't betting my league.